Here we go, we're in. It's 1 o'clock, bam, right on the nose. Sticky Learning Lunches with me, Nathan Simmonds. Hello, everyone. Thanks very much for being here. And it's amazing to see so many enthusiastic people already here. VJ, good to see you again. Victoria, thank you very much for being here. Tim, always a pleasure. Howard, really appreciate you being here. Colin, as always, here every time. If I had a Blue Peter badge, especially for you, Colin, I would be sending it to. Ayman, thank you very much. And Abby, really appreciate you being here so early, ready for this session. Massive gratitude to all of you. We're just going to give it 30 seconds while we wait for other people to arrive. And as they do, I'm going to give it a few more seconds. Fiona, hello. I'll just get everyone in here and then we'll kick off today's session for the final hurdle in the time management system, which is all about taking action. Sticky learning badges sound like a great idea. Do you know what, actually, as you were saying that, there's some parallels here between the content that we're delivering online for the sticky learning lunches and the way that we approach online training. And I was talking to a peer in another organization about this, and actually there's some parallels between social media and what we're doing here. And if you look at things like Facebook, when you're in a group, they do badges. They give you little award stickers so that you can say when you're in a group, whether you're a visual storyteller or rising star or whatever it is. And actually, sticky learning lunch badge, that'd be a great idea. Now I've done it, I think I just made another piece of work for myself. I might have to get one of the graphic designers on this. We'll get some pictures up with some badges of the people that attend the most. Got my pens ready. I think we're good to go. How are we doing today? Before we dive in, how are we today? 1 being terrible, 10 being phenomenal. Where are we rating ourselves in our week already on a Tuesday? Where are we? We've got some 8s, we've got a 6. Okay, a couple of 6s. This doesn't fill me with joy. Got ya. No back-to-backs today. Good, nice. That was a 10. Thank you, Victoria, for paying attention and making use of this. Wherever we are, whatever number you've rated yourself at in relation to the week you're in right now, whether that be because of lockdown and you're still in isolation, you've got cabin fever, whether that be frustrations of your time management system not working, whether that be other frustrations or other problems coming up, let's ask one straightforward question that's going to help to make a shift. What's one thing that you can do right now that's going to help you to shift from wherever you are in that rating on that sliding scale to the next step? What's the one thing that's going to help improve the situation right now? You can let me know in the questions box, or you can write it down for yourself as an action that you need to be taken that's going to help you shift. You are in direct control of the environment around you. Let me rephrase that. You're in direct control of how you choose to respond to the environment around you. One of those 6s coming, stop procrastinating. Me, not you, Nathan. I was going to say, crikey, you don't know me well enough, Abby, to tell me to stop procrastinating. But you're right, I was this morning, but we'll talk about that later. And anyway, you were part of the procrastination workshop. The 3 sessions we did around that, so you have some of those tools to help you do that. If you need to revisit the session, by the way, we'll put the link in there for the previous workshop, so you can go and have a look at those ones as well. Let's dive into this. Pay attention, this is about action, so it's time to act. 1:30, bam, we're going. I didn't attend that, but need to. Okay, in the chat box, if you have not already registered for the future Sticky Learning Lunches or shared that link with people that it's relevant to, we're going to share the link for the future sessions. On that link is also all the previous sessions that we've delivered up until now. So you've got over 40 Sticky Learning Lunches in there, covering everything from the Grow coaching model to procrastination and getting things done, and all the way through to time management and everything in between. If you haven't already registered, the first call to action today is click that link and get registered for the future sessions. Tomorrow, we're going to start by covering something super niche, which is category management. If there are people in your business that would benefit from understanding category management at a much deeper level, we are going to be doing 7 sessions with our in-house resident expert, Andy Palmer, taking you through the 73% category management funnel. I'm going to be facilitating that conversation, and Andy's going to be delivering some exceptional level of expertise to make sure that that you have absolute clarity in that space. So the link's in there below. Let's get on with today. Come on, I'm jabbering because I'm excited. As always, number 1, mobile phones. Let's do this. Zero out the distraction, light up the little aeroplane, 100% attention on you, making sure you've got a drink, fresh tea, whatever it is, staying hydrated, good weather, keeping the brain lubricated. And your notepads, fresh page, fresh thinking. At the top of that page, you're going to write keepers. And these are the things that you want to keep hold of, that you want to remember, okay, that you want to remind yourself about when you reread them, so you can reignite that thinking and make the learning stick, because that's what we're here to do, to help you make that stuff stick. Let's get into this. Day 7 of the 7 hurdles of time management. Welcome to today's Sticky Learning Lunch with me, Nathan Simmonds, Senior Leadership Coach and Trainer for MBM, Making Business Matter, the home of sticky learning. Idea of these sessions is to help you be the best version of you in the work that you do right now, from wherever you are at home or at work, or if you're returning back to work. Help you to raise that thinking up and give you some skills and uncommon ideas that are going to get you to uncommon results, right? And really push that level of experience for you. Today's session, number 7, hurdle, action. Let's dive straight into this. I'm not going to put the flow up there. Hopefully enough of you have seen that flow chart, so we know that there's capturing and there's emptying and deleting and listing and scheduling and storing and all that sort. But the last part we're getting to is all about action. Hurdle number 7 is all about action. And you've heard me say it before, and I'm going to say it again because it's, it's something valuable and worth keeping hold of. Action creates traction. Okay, the universe responds to you doing things, not to you thinking about maybe you should be doing them. Does that make sense? I hope everyone's with me on this. In the nicest possible way, you cannot meditate your way out of a tiger attack. You cannot meditate your way to a $1 million check coming through the post. It requires a certain amount of you putting some energy in that moves you towards where you want to get to at the other end. Now, if you've got items that are dropping into your email, into your capturing points, and you're not emptying them, that's the first action. You need to empty your capture points in order to get them to understand where they need to go. Where do they need to be? Do they need to be delegated? Do they need to be put into the right list? Do I need to schedule them? This is the first action. Because if we're not doing these things and causing ourselves triggers, those sparks of those moments, at whatever point we are in the time management system, nothing's going to happen. Does this make sense with everyone? Yes or no? It's a double cuff. It's always a double cuff day. Always a double cuff day. So as I said on day 1, as I said on day 2 and 3, the time management system hinges on whether or not you trust that system. And in truth, you are the linchpin that holds the whole system together. Because if you're not acting, if you're not concentrating, you're not pulling those, the relevant levers at the right time, it's not going to work. And then at the end of the day, and as I said before in question before, when something doesn't happen, when something falls off the radar, when you miss something, and all those frustrations come up, and you get angry at other people, all you're doing is getting angry at yourself because you're the one that dropped the ball. Who here's felt like this, yes or no? Everyone say aye if they know this feeling. Done it a lot. And it's just remembering, that frustration that we're giving to someone else, or that anger that they demonstrate. It's actually, it's the undealt with emotion that's been triggered inside ourselves at ourselves, but we want to try and find someone else to blame it on because we know we don't want to acknowledge that. But it's okay, it happens. So the first thing is putting those triggers in place, whether it's a post-it note. And we talked about the elimination of capture points. We've talked about the elimination of lists and the deletion of extra work coming in. Amalgamating some of those elements So that actually when we do go to close our laptop down, we have a trigger to take that action. Now, when we sit down with a cup of coffee, we have another trigger that says, oh, check this list, add these things to it. So it's reminding us to do certain things and take those steps that keeps us flowing through the system. So this is the first thing. The next part we need to understand is about our butterflies. And you may remember this from the working from home modules in the previous session. It's about distraction. It's about remembering that Darren's father was a keen horticulturist, I think is the right word, grower of vegetables. And he watched the cabbage butterflies flitting from one to the other, doing their thing. And they'll go from one and back to the other and all over the place. And just remember, the cabbages can be the distraction. And if we start behaving like the butterfly, just flitting randomly from one thing to the next, actually we don't get a lot of stuff done. So we need to work out what our distractions are and eliminate them or kind of master them and work with them. Procrastination came up. By all means, go back and look at those previous episodes for procrastination, and then start to drill down into those elements to help you get the focus on what you're doing. Yesterday, we talked about stealth mode. My language is going dark. Something that we can bring over kind of from military terms. So this is understanding that if you've written down the reason why you're on the payroll, the 3 core reasons that you're doing that, you're paid to do the job that you're doing. And inside this, you've then found out or worked out what are your key projects? What are the most vital, critical, business essential things that you're working on right now? And then you can list these out. So what are you on the payroll for? And then business critical. And these should be your key things to be watching and applying the majority of your time to. Now, if you've got all these random things coming in, going dark and going off grid, getting away, booking time in your calendar to allocate an hour to work on this project, 2 hours to work on this, a day to work on this, and actually schedule a meeting room or space where you can just push out, the distraction. You have a tight bubble of focus and an intention to get these things done. And that means sometimes going dark or going off grid. In this though, so some of the key things we talked about when we get into the action side of things, and I've written these quite small to my own detriment, is then working out what your short times are. What do we mean by this? If you've got your to-do list all structured, if you've got your projects in place and your schedule is finely tuned to go and get these things done, just understanding what your short times are, and these are the individual actions that come in that might take 1 minute or 2 minutes or 3 or 4. And understanding that these little things may be very quick to resolve, and actually it's easier to resolve them there and then and get rid of them. But the part that you've got to work out in your short times is how long is your short time? And this is going to be different for each individual on each different project that you're working on, due to the level of priority and intensity that's required for that thing you're working on. So one of the key actions here is, what is your time? And as I say, it may be different for you or for the project you're working on, depending on your level of focus and attention, the way that, depending on what things distract you more easily, or the necessity to get the thing done. So work out what your short time is. This is an action to take away. The second question on this, what is too many? So getting one might be okay, and you can do it, and it's easy. or easier to go back to the thing you're working on. 2 might be okay. But maybe we get to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and all of a sudden, what was a 2-minute or 3-minute short time individual action suddenly becomes 45 minutes of work back to back, and the thing that you were working on has now been reprioritized. So you remember I said this before, what are you saying yes to, and what does that mean you're saying no to? And thinking about it in this context. So my first question is, depending on the critical things that you're working on, what is your short time? What would be and this is an open question to all, what would be an appropriate amount of time for you as an individual just to take a quick action and move it out of your to-do list or out of your capture point and out of your list? This reminds me of Jar of Life. That's okay. I'm going to have to find out more about that. I'm going to put that on my actions to search later. Thank you, Fiona. What are your short times? What is a reasonable amount of time for you to take an action that doesn't detract or subtract from the thing that you're working on? Five minutes max, good. And as I was saying that, that's interesting, because, or not the 5 minutes, but the subtract and detract. Well, you know, it's, I said action causes traction. Too many of these causes a distraction, a detraction, a subtraction, a pulling away from what it is you're trying to get to. So you've got 5 minutes max on there. Now, what is too many? So how many individual no quick hits actually are too many for you, which are going to cause you a problem? So I need you to be thinking about this, because you might say, oh, that's okay, that's okay, that's okay. Hold on a minute, that's not. I need to state my boundaries and set my own personal expectations to myself and my own work ethic, and set those boundaries so that when someone else comes to me, I have to then say, okay, actually, that's not okay. I've got to make sure I'm staying on focus on this. Maybe you can go to so and so and they can support you with this, and we start to redirect and delegate. We shepherd people in the right direction. Hope this is useful. Is it worth your attention? Simple maths here. If you're getting all these small things coming in and actually they're starting to pull you away from what you're doing and they are subtracting from where you're going, actually, are those things that people are coming to you with, and we talked about deletion previously with these elements, are they actually worth your attention? Is it in your job description, or is it more beneficial that someone else does that? Here's an action for you to work that out. If you want to know if it's worth your attention, here's the sum. Take your salary, approximately divide it by 2,000. That is your hourly rate. If you go back to the previous question and say, well, actually, what is it I'm getting paid to do? And what's the reason I do this job? Right now, open question to everyone. And I want to see you to light up the questions box with some responses on here. What are you currently doing right now that actually you maybe shouldn't be doing, or needs to be delegated to someone else, that actually isn't worth your attention? In the nicest possible way. I'm not saying it's beneath you, because that's the wrong kind of language. What I'm saying is actually what you're getting paid for is this stuff here, and this is what you need to be focusing on, because this is what actually makes the business run. And those things over here, when we do this equation, who needs to be doing this stuff? Who actually enjoys doing this stuff? Who in your sphere? So I want you to list 3 things that actually probably aren't worth your attention. And then I want you to start putting names of people, individuals, potentially that you can delegate those things to, and say, okay, actually, who would enjoy doing these things? In whose remit actually do these jobs fit? Whether they can do it or not, that's a different question, completely different question, and gives you an opportunity to do some coaching and development so you can help to delete that from your list and then delegate that to them. So list those 3 things and then write names next to it of who can do that job or who needs to be doing that job, so actually you can focus on the things that you're getting paid for. Yes or no, has people just written those things down? Yes or no? 3 things, 3 names. This one's been working on this over the past 6 to 12 months, so come a long way and has made a huge difference. Exactly. It does make a huge difference. The problem that the majority of leaders and business people have is they say, well, in order for me to do, to do it right, I'd rather do it myself. And actually, that's not okay, because we end up doing everything then. So we get promoted because we were doing this job really well. We get promoted to this level, but we see these people aren't doing it as well as we used to do it. So we go back and carry on doing that for a sense of security and comfort that we're still ticking these boxes, and we feel more secure in this space rather than doing the job that maybe we don't know how to do. But the job that we're saying that we don't know how to do is actually to support these individuals doing the job better than you did it previously, because it makes your life easier here. And keep doing it. There'll be no, as a constant, it's not a one-hit wonder. You do this exercise every 2 to 3 to 4 months. What are the things I'm doing right now that actually don't fill me with joy? What are the things here that someone else could be doing that actually they would really enjoy doing? And then start delegating and training people, because it frees up more of your bandwidth to do more of your own personal development and own projects, so you can elevate yourself and your game and your status, so that these people can elevate their game and their status. We rise by lifting others. Robert Ingersoll, it's a quote on my wall over here. Yes, it takes twice as long to start with, but after a while it means you have 3 times. Exactly that. Such a nice feeling. Double check, is it worth your time and your salary to carry on doing those things? He says. Going back into what we saw yesterday, so I'm just going to double check the slide that I've got on here. I'll share those with you in just a minute, but it's just running through the questions that we will. Is actually, when we talked about, and I walked through the Eisenhower, I'm sticking my name on the end of it because we adjusted it yesterday. The Eisenhower model matrix of going through the important urgent elements. Again, this is relevant, it's a slight repetition from yesterday, but it's understanding, okay, what is important and what's urgent, and it's about you taking action. If it's important but not urgent, then you schedule it. If it's not important and it's not urgent, you delete it, you get rid of it. And then if it's, where was I? It's urgent and not important, I think that's the right way around. We schedule it. Let's schedule it, store it. I'll doodle this again later. He says, not important, not urgent, we delete. Not important, urgent, we store it. So it's understanding this framework and where this fits in the hurdles, and making sure we're going back and actually looking at what are the things we're doing, what are our short times, how much distraction can we take. But then, just reminded me, if it's urgent and important, we stay on it. We make sure that we carry on doing the work, because the distractions are going to be the things that pull us away. If we've got enough room to do it, we then need the anchor that reminds us to come back to it. Because if you have seen what we looked at PDPs and goal setting and context switching, the moment that you have something that comes in and causes a distraction, it's easier to stay distracted and it's harder to get your momentum back. So it's understanding that when you have an anchor, okay, how many distractions is too many? At which point do I say no? And also, how do I make sure I go back into the work that I was doing? to keep me moving forward. So it might be that you have to use something super silly like or super simple as a 5-bar gate. So you're just taking a tick of, okay, I've got 2 distractions here, that's my limit. That's my reference point to anchor back to the work that I'm doing. Okay, what was I working on? I was working on this. We ask ourselves that question, what is it I need to return my attention to? It's this project. Okay, I'm back. So that we're constantly pulling ourselves back and maintaining and developing the to-do mechanism, the getting done muscle. Hope this is useful. Crikey, it's 21 minutes past, 26 minutes past, apologies. What's been useful from today's session? Light up the questions box. What has been useful from today's session that's going to help keep your time management system moving forward? And you are the time management system, by the way. What has been useful from today's session? Butterflies, good. Action equals traction, absolutely. Butterflies as well, Fiona, from the link from the sticky learnings. We talked about the butterflies element. We talked about that in the mindset, the working from home content that we delivered almost at the beginning of the sticky learnings. And you'll see how much they've changed in 8 weeks. Short times and my distraction limit, absolutely. Got to know your threshold for these things in your bandwidth and how it's actually going to stop you from moving forward. Putting the time on my short times, realizing when you add them together, yeah. My wife and I often have this ongoing funny discussion. She said, "Oh, it would just take a minute." I'm like, "Yeah, it doesn't, does it?" No, and I'm the same. I do it in a slightly different way. But she was like, "Yeah, but if you can do this and do that, you know, it'll just take a few minutes." No, that's 5 minutes, that's 15 minutes, and that's 27 minutes. You know, there might have been a few minutes on their own, but when you put them together, that compound effect is huge. It's not just the addition of minutes. It's actually, well, actually, it's building up the momentum to go back into the work that you were doing. What are my distractions and how do I eliminate them? Absolutely. Understanding what they are and getting clear on them and seeing them. Okay, well, I'm going to get asked for that by that person, and you start to preempt this stuff. And this is where the martial arts philosophy comes in. If I'm going to fight this individual or work with this person here, I know it's going to look like this. They're going to demand this of me. I need to think about this. And when we're working with individuals, they might be working on different projects, but I understand that this person's issues or challenges or needs, when we look at situational leadership, are so that if I leave them to work on that, they're going to ask me these 3 questions in the next hour, 90 minutes, hour and a half. If I preempt that, I can then make sure I've got a clearer 90 minutes. And I can eliminate some of those distractions before it comes in. We start to get strategic with our approach. It becomes like a game of chess with our time management. And as I say, with that sparring, it's like, okay, well, I know I need to think about this, 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 and this. And that makes my life easier and get to where I need to be. Good. Also, I like the use of hashtag symbolizing gate, blocker, milestone. Yeah, good. Dark mode, need to close down message. Absolutely. I used to do this as well when I was working previously at the weekend, and it was a quieter space. I'd literally go away and I would lock myself in a meeting room for the majority of the day and just work on a project for 6-7 hours, because I knew there wasn't any other admin tasks or interactions that I could do because of the limited number of people. But I would go dark, and I would then just go back to my desk 2 or 3 times just to make sure everything was okay. And if someone needed to get a hold of me, they could then text message me or whatever. But I would go off grid to make sure I could maximize that attention on what I was doing. Hope this is useful. What questions have you got for me right now? You've got some great stuff. I mean, these 7 sessions have been phenomenal. There's been some great value adds coming out of this. I can see how this is helping people. Really appreciate that. What questions have you got for me right now about taking action in any of these 7 hurdles? While those are coming in, if they're coming in, say no if you have no questions. That's also okay. And actually would help me. Inside the chat box is going to be the link for the time management cards. You can go in and you can see all the decks of cards, all the coaching decks that we provide from MBM, Making Business Matter, from time management, leadership model, which we're going to be covering in a couple of weeks' time. Excited about that. Grow coaching model, all of that. Mind, the mental health model as well. The coaching decks are there. You know, they're £5 for a pack, which is ridiculously good value for what you get in there. And I know some people have already received their copies. Look, if they're going to be useful for you and want more support with your time management, that is the first place to go. The second one is we have the ultimate guide, white paper for time management. This is where, you know, the tables and charts that I've been sharing and the concepts, they come from that, from Darren, the founder at MBM, and also with some of the elements that I've been adding to this along the way. The link in the chat box will be there for a second. You can download that. It's free to download and maximize and make the most of. Any other questions? No. The 7th session has been very useful. Many thanks. You're very welcome. Look, so sticky learning lunches are there. The coaching cards are there. And then finally, or one of the final parts for me is virtual classrooms. If you or any of your team would benefit from being in a virtual classroom, who here, no, whose team or who is, let me get the words out. Do you know someone in your business that would benefit from going through this time management model to help improve their results? Yes or no? Yes or no? Would someone benefit from this? Yes. Now is the time to share this link with them. Now is the time to have a conversation with us so that we can support that, so that we can help you and your business and your teams improve the skill set they've got. And we can do this virtual classrooms, we can do this face-to-face if you like. Whatever it is that's going to help you and your businesses to improve the results that you're getting through developing the skill sets that they've got and helping just, you know, push people forward. Uncommon ideas taught in uncommon ways that get incredible results. That's, you know, one of my key drivers. If this, any other previous sessions would benefit you, click on the link for the virtual classrooms. We're here to help. Yes, it's what we do as a business. It's what we do because we love it as well, and we want to share these ideas and these concepts. So if it's appropriate for you, click the link, go and have a look. Let's have a conversation about how we can help you deliver those results. Hope this has been useful. Final shout out. Tomorrow, category management, super niche, super expert, high level of expertise. Tomorrow is category management with myself and Andy Palmer. And we're going to be doing that for 7 days, not Friday, because Friday's off and no one enjoys training on Friday because they've already checked out for the week. We know this as trainers. And then after that, it's going to be the leadership coaching model. So I'm super excited to be sharing the content with you over the next few days. If category management isn't your thing, but you know someone who it is their thing and they need this, 7 days of free content specifically around category management, share the link, get them to sign up and get them in the room so we can help, okay? Everyone, thank you very much for sharing. It's been an absolute pleasure doing this. I really appreciate doing this. And yes, I will check out the Jar of Life, Fiona. It's next on my list while I'm doing my lunch. That's going to be my sticky learning lunch, is doing that and having a sandwich. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you with Andy tomorrow. Have a wonderful rest of your day.